everybody. Good afternoon to you. How are you? Hope you're having a great day. For those of you that like Spicy Rose, well, you're going to love this video because Spicy Rose is going to be all the way out. I am just so sick of Shantal. Who else watching this video is so sick of Shantal? If you're sick of Shantal, put some tomatoes in the comments or just say you're sick of her in the comments because I have just about freaking had it with this woman. I am just so over it. I mean, I've been reacting to Shantal for so many years, and I'm sick to death of all of it. I'm just, the whole thing with what she's doing lately, what she has been doing, the bringing in of different fetishes, turning her YouTube channel into essentially a fetish channel, catering to all different kinds of fetishes, that just pushed it over the edge for me. Now, for those of you that are watching this video, maybe you're hopping in a little bit late to Shantal verse and you don't know all the lore and you haven't been there as long. Allow me to please inform you of some of the things that Shantal has done, some of the fetishes that she has actively catered to on YouTube. So let's go back. Let's go back in time for a minute. Back at the villa, what fetishes was she catering to? Well, she brought in elements of BDSM when she talked about Natter, referring to him as Dom, using a necklace as her day collar. She would come home from Natter and show off all her bruises. So, like, she was, in my opinion, not only living out a fantasy, this Anastasia Steele, Christian Grey, effed up fantasy, but she was trying to bring in the BDSM people, right? Of course, she's always catered to the feeders in one form or another. She was also maybe catering to those who might have a fetish for anybody living in a very dirty, sloppy way. And yes, those people are out there, and that is their kink, and that's what they like. But let's go even further. She was also doing a lot of elements involving exhibitionism and voyeurism, but especially the exhibitionism. She was catering to people that were into the public flashing and flashing in general. She was even catering to the crowd of people that they're into, shall we say, defecation, scat. There are people out there with that kink. She would do live streams showing herself going to the bathroom. There were other live streams where she would literally sit on the couch or a bed and mess her pants on purpose, knowing she felt the urge and she did not get up and do something about it. I mean, just so many things, y'all. So many fetishes. I think Shantal has looked around at the fetish community, all the different genres, and whatever she can do, she has done. If it's easy and she can do it and she can tie things into what she's already doing, then she will bring it in. Certainly that's true of what she's doing these days with the age play, her playing as an adult baby. Now, I did a whole video about that, about the adult baby thing. And this thing that she's doing with Salah, this was not something that always was. She cannot sit there and claim, oh, that's just part of my personality, da-da-da-da-da. That personality did not show up with Natter. It wasn't there with Pete. It wasn't there with BB. It just showed up with Salah. And I've seen it get progressively more intense. Certainly that 5-hour donut stream was proof that if she was really, really going for it, dressing in a shirt that looked like a onesie, her table looking like a high chair, the waving the arms in the air like a toddler, like the crying, the whining, there's just so many things. Shantal, can you be more obvious about what you're doing? Can you be more obvious that you're turning YouTube into a fetish forum, at least on your side? And here's where I got a problem with that. And here's where I'm angry about it. Even those in the audience even the audience members, even people who are spectators, when it comes to a certain fetish, any fetish, even audience members have the right to give consent. They should be well informed of what they're looking at so they can consent to watch or walk away. And what's effed up about you is that you're doing these fetish things on YouTube. The audience is not informed of what they're looking at. So therefore, you're not allowing them to give consent or walk away as they see fit. You're taking that consent away from them just because you want the views and you want to make the money by subjecting the general public to fetish content that they don't want to watch. You're not informing people about what they're looking at. You're just saying, here's my content. I'm acting in a bizarre way, but you are catering to different fetish people, hoping to bring them into your channel and make money off of them. But the audience is not being informed of what they're looking at. So taking the consent away is just, it's beyond foul. It's absolutely beyond foul. When it comes to a fetish scene or a certain fetish, it's not just those who actively participate that should be given the right to consent and be given full knowledge. It is the spectators. And so, like, just watching you do the age play, doing the adult baby thing on your channel, that just sent me over the edge. So Spicy Rose is all the way out. I really don't care, Shantal. I don't care if it makes you mad. It makes me mad that you're doing that kind of content on YouTube when it really belongs on Patreon or OnlyFans. And I know the reason why you're not going to OnlyFans because, ma'am, you don't like competition. You can't handle competition. And you're lazy. You don't want to go into a private forum and advertise what you do. Now, you want to be on a free forum like YouTube, where there's less competition for what you do and you can make money. That's the only way you can make money. It's not by hard work. It's not by quality content. It's not by being nice to people. It's about, I'm just taking the easy, lazy way out. And in the process, you're subjecting people to things they really don't need to be looking at. Fetish content, self-harm content, coming on YouTube and stuffing your face and risking a medical emergency on live that people may or may not witness. It's wrong. Ma'am, if you want to do the feeder content, go somewhere else. Put it on a private forum. Tell your feeders to follow you there. That's the way to go about things. Tell all your guys to follow you there and get the heck off of YouTube. Because that's not what a lot of people are on YouTube for. They're not here to see adult fetishes. They're not here to be subjected to adult fetishes without their consent. That is just wrong. That is absolutely wrong, Shantal. I don't care what the reason. I don't care how much money you're making. It is wrong. Do you understand? Wrong. You may think you're clever by bringing it here, that you're bypassing all the competition, but all the things you're doing, you're not making that much money and you're ruining your health. And the fact that YouTube is allowing this crap is sickening. They could completely cut off the faucet and stop you. So the feeling for YouTube is, I guess, the rules for some, but not for all. That the terms of service is a joke. That if you know someone at YouTube or they are making enough money off of a certain community or a certain person, they'll leave you alone. They'll look the other way. They've been looking the other way for you for years, Shantal. Maybe they've taken the attitude of they know what's going to happen to you and they're going to make every dime, dollar, nickel, and penny off of you before what's going to happen is going to happen. I'm not sure. I don't work at YouTube, but it's all rotten. YouTube talks about their terms of service, but I guess that stuff only on paper for the advertising companies so they feel comfortable advertising on YouTube and YouTube can continue making their money. But the terms of service really don't apply like they should. So tell y'all what. Let's just go to Twitter and cover some of the Twitter stuff, and then I'll cover a little bit of her newest mukbang. I don't care what she's eating. I really, really, really don't give a crap. But I'm going to go off on her. I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood and not for love. So I am where I need to be. Yes. Yes, I am. And I hope you guys don't mind me venting. I'm sick of her. I'm sick of her subjecting people to adult kinks and adult fetishes that they did not ask for, they did not sign up for, they're not giving consent to, putting things on a forum where her content is not even age restricted. That's really, really ticking me off. I think it's unfair. I think it's rotten. I think it's foul. And YouTube should put a stop to it. So, let's see what's going on Twitter. For those who are on Twitter that want to follow me on Twitter, it's Wild Girl Sarah. Okay, this post, courtesy of Malarkey Meter. Hey, Malarkey. Malarkey Meter says, one of the tricks they teach you in pre-post gastric bypass classes is to eat with chopsticks as it slows you down. So you can do more easily identifies when you're full. You don't need bypass to do this. Foodie would never qualify. She's too gluttonous to even try. So, couple things about that. Yes, you're right, Malarkey. As far as WLS and gastric bypass, Foodie would never qualify for several reasons. One being her overall health. Given how her organs are in trouble, given her high blood pressure, her high blood sugar, just to put her on the table would be extremely high risk. She's also diabetic, which means she's at a higher risk for infection. But I've talked to some people that have gone through the procedures to get WLS, and there is a lot of hurdles that you have to jump first before the doctors say yes. They want to see you on the path to health. They want to see you on a journey of losing weight and improving your diet. She is someone that she's got a very extreme, active issue with food. As I understand it, before surgery, you have to go on a liquid diet. And I think that's because they don't want anything in your bowels when they operate on you. They don't want anything, still collected down below. But you got to go on a liquid diet. Like Shantal could never. She could never. She can't have WLS because if she did, let's just say she, by some miracle, got on the table and got off safely, by some absolute extraordinary miracle. Well, she still got her raging problem with food, and the problem is not in your stomach, it's in your head. So there she would be with a stomach the size of a teacup. She would have the urge to have a bee moment, and she would try to, have her bee moment, and all she would end up doing is either rupturing her stomach or vomiting nonstop. She'd be sitting there crying and stomping her feet and just frustrated because the bee monster in her head is telling her to keep going with the keep eating, and her stomach just can't. So she would never get WLS. No doctor worth his degree would touch her in that regard. Now, going back to this particular mukbang, all right, so can we talk about the chopsticks for a minute? Can we address her using the chopsticks? Because that's important. So for those of you, perhaps you don't know this, I've done some studying up on Japan and China because I'm interested in going to Japan and China at some point. And one of the things that I feel is important if you go to a new place, a new country, is studying up on traditions, studying up on manners and how to be respectful. And each place, there may be things that we do here in America that someplace else might be considered rude. For example, like over in Thailand, when Foodie was in Thailand, you're not supposed to touch anybody on the head. Okay. But she did. She touched people on the head. Like this called the land of smiles, but there's certain things over there that might be considered very rude. and she was being rude. Like she was, not giving, bowing to people and giving the greeting. Over in China, and I think also in Japan, the chopsticks. You're seeing in this clip right now, she's doing something that over, I believe, in Japan and China would be considered very disrespectful. And I'm talking about her taking the chopsticks and just sticking them up, like upright in the food and leaving that way. In Asian culture, you're not supposed to impale things with your chopsticks. And then taking your chopsticks and sticking them in the food like that, that's something you only do during like a time of mourning or like a funeral. So like she's over there, she's eating the food, but she's not being respectful in that regard. Like she's eating like a toddler. So like, let me just stick my chopsticks in there. So isn't that something, Shantal? You're supposed to be the worldly traveler. Like, I'm going to travel and I'm going to do things, but yet the places that you go, you don't study up on how to be mannerly, how to be respectful, how not to offend people. And you could easily do that with Google. You can easily find out, like, if I'm going to a certain place, are there things I should not do? Are there things I should not say? Because by going to this place, I want to make sure I don't offend anybody. You don't even care. You're doing these mukbangs and you don't even care. You don't even care. The whole, is it mukbang? Am I saying it wrong? The mukbang thing started over, I believe, in South Korea as a way for people who wanted to eat with somebody, yet they were alone, to feel like they were eating with someone. So here she is doing a mukbang that originated over in South Korea and doing sticking the chopsticks thing in there. Disrespectful. You're a disrespectful, rude person, Shantal. Okay, a little palate cleanser from Nature is Amazing. This whale has built up years of trust with this boat captain at the Calving Lagoon to remove lice from its head. So can you imagine the amount of time it took for this captain to get the amount of trust from this whale? And the whale's just going to sit there while it takes the lice off its head. I think that's beautiful. They obviously have a friendship and a bond that cannot be explained. But here's the whale just saying, hey, help me out. Be the cleaning crew. And the captain's like, no problem. All right, Truth Seekers says that plate would last me 3 meals. Let's look. So this is from the I guess Chinese noodles mukbang. And again, we got the takeout. We got the full sugar cola, something that a diabetic does not need. But it's got to be all of this stuff she's got in front of her. You could have gone to the grocery store and got those same things. But no, it has to be freaking takeout. And look, all gone now. All gone. And you know what's funny, yet not funny? The fact that whenever she eats Chinese food, doesn't that usually send her to the hospital in the ER? Yeah, it usually does. It's like every time she eats Chinese food, especially back in Canada when she goes to the Chinese buffet, it makes her sick. She's like, oh, I got to go to the ER. So, I guess you don't care about your health. Fondu Pondu says, Foodie Beauty, that's right, cutie. You keep showing us how you can do what you want. Screw the feet at this point. These were her legs and feet in the villa. We are steps LOL away from that. Keep going, Foodie. So for those who weren't around for the villa days, okay, what are we looking at? Let me help you out. So the top left picture, the one that right here, this right here, there is a thing called diabetic neuropathy. All those dark patches you see on her legs, I feel, are from that. Like you can even see it. There's one here near her ankle. There's some over here. And this was back in her villa days. And she's put on a lot more weight since then. And her diet is a lot worse. So I can only imagine what her legs look like now. That's why everybody that's just entering girl world, if you hear us refer to Shantal as Sugarfoot, there's a reason for that. Because she's got diabetes. And there's a possibility that she could lose a limb at some point. because that sometimes happens with severe diabetes. But she's got diabetic neuropathy and does not care. Does not care. Yep. Keep eating that food, Shantal. You're doing your body no favors. Okay, Yog says Kitty loves its friend. So there's Kitty doing the love bite thing. Booger does that to me all the time. You guys see it. It's a cat thing. What are you gonna do? They do the love bites. That's their way of saying I love you, but I'm gonna keep you on your toes. Girl World Lurker says I've never heard of this brand. I don't know. We know it's full sugar soda, but with that meal, I literally doesn't matter that it's not the zero version. Yeah, you know what? I think we're all desensitized to Chantal to a certain degree. If she sits down with a 4,000 calorie meal and full sugar soda and pour that soda into a flower vase, it's not shocking to us because this is her normal. So as a reactor, you get used to this being her normal. I'm not saying it's healthy, but this is her normal. Sitting down with a flower pitcher full of soda, eating 4,000 calories in one sitting, that is literally her normal. She thinks there's nothing abnormal about it. So yeah, what's a little full sugar soda on top of everything else? I mean, she sits there and she eats the Simpson donuts that are the size of a cake. So what's that soda going to do? Okay. Truth Seeker says, oh my. Soap says in her comments, I thought you weren't doing mukbangs anymore. She says, I changed my mind. There was never a moment, though, where she truly wanted to stop doing mukbangs. She had no intention of stopping. What she did do was she did what she normally does with her beezers. And whenever she feels like they're getting sick of her stuffing her face and making herself sick and complaining about the sickness that she causes to herself, when she feels like they're at the end of their rope, she will toss them scraps of hope and act like she cares about her health when clearly she does not. You know, she'll like pull on the string and go, oh, don't go anywhere. Stay here with me. I really do care about my health. I promise. Just give me one more chance. She wants to keep those people around and make sure she gets X number of views per month, but she has absolutely no care about her health. She doesn't want to change. Look, she's a food addict. And her habit with food is so large that she could not keep it at the level that it's at on her own. Her habit is so large, it's so out of control. She literally has to crowdfund and crowdsource out to her beezers and out to her feedie people to keep it at the level that she's built it and that the feedies have built it. If YouTube cut off her channel tomorrow, they took away monetization and she had to get a regular job. Not that she really could, but if she did, she would not be able to buy the amount of food that the bee monster in her head requires to be happy. She would just be losing her ever-loving mind. So, like, there's no changing the mind on the mukbangs. There was no shift in thinking. There was never a moment of pause. Let's think this over. Let's fix this problem because it's getting out of hand. That has never happened. I've been watching Shantal for years, and I have never sensed or seen that look in her eyes of I've gone too far, I've done too much, and I need to stop. It's never happened. She's in denial. She lives in Delulu land. She thinks as long as there's no serious medical emergency, she's fine. Even if she lives in complete pain every day, that voice in her head tells her you can handle it. It's okay. You can handle it. We can find a workaround. We can find a shortcut to keep this going. Always looking for the shortcuts. Always looking for the workarounds. Always looking for the loopholes. If it means she's got to take extra metformin or abuse her insulin to keep it going, she will. And you know what, y'all? That is the addiction talking. She's not in control of herself. She's letting the addiction control her. It speaks for her. It thinks for her. It acts for her. The puppet master is in control of the gluttonous puppet. It's consumed her, and it's getting ready to swallow her whole. And she knows what's up. She's not stupid. She just doesn't care to get the control back. And you know what, Shantal? I know you're going to watch this video. I know you are, because you watch everything about yourself. So since you are, let me just pass along a message. Not because I care about you, just because it's factual. Death and addiction, they're very similar. Neither one cares if you're a good person or a bad person. Neither one cares if you've got money in the bank or you're flat broke. It doesn't care about your family. It doesn't care about your friends. It doesn't care about how many subscribers you have or how many views your videos get, if you got a YouTube plaque. Neither one cares about those things. When it's your time, it's your time. And you're pushing yourself closer to that time. Addiction, it affects many lives. It takes many lives. It does not discriminate. It can affect your life for a long time or forever, or take your life. And then once it takes your life, then death takes over. It's like, oh, there is another soul. Let me just take it in. Addiction and death are best friends. They work together. Death doesn't discriminate. It'll take anybody anyway, but addiction's like, let me just give you a few more souls to put in purgatory if they're bad people. Okay? If you get lost in addiction, you got to find your way out before it's too late. And Shantal, you're a lost cause. You are consumed by your addiction. You're lost in your addiction. You've got people in your ear convincing you that living a life in a very unhealthy way is the right way. And you're not going to stop. I don't see it in your eyes. I don't see you changing. I don't see you wanting to change. I see you coming on camera and exploiting what's wrong with you and potentially affecting other people. So you're a food junkie that you come on camera and you want to monetize that. And on top of that, bring in adult fetishes to YouTube. You're making all the wrong moves. And you wonder why people don't like you. Fondue Pondu says that facial swelling in 2 weeks' time is mind-blowing. She's fully being out and absolutely non-compliant with meds, testing, diet. She makes every excuse to avoid diabetic education. YouTube needs to remove her, monetize addiction and medical misinformation. True. And what scares me, y'all, is the fact that there might be people out there that are food addicts or people who have diabetes that made me watch Shantal. People who are diabetic that they see her and they're like, oh, look at all the food she's eating. I guess I can eat that way too if I just mess around with my meds. Or there might be people on YouTube that they want a big channel. They want a big channel. And they're like, oh, look at her. She's got 100,000 subscribers and all she has to do is eat food. That looks easy. I guess I can do it. Nobody should be following in Shantal's footsteps. Not even Shantal. Look at the way it's affected her. There's a price to pay for trading 100% of your health for a bunch of paychecks. Health is wealth, and she has no wealth that way. Absolutely none. Her foolishness has put her in the tiniest corner in the world. And she's always fooled herself into thinking that no matter what happens, whatever the corner is, she can pivot herself out. She used to be able to do that. She can't do that anymore. Not in any respect. Shantal, you're not a ballerina. You can't pivot out of this corner that you painted yourself in. You can't jump high enough to get out of it. You just can't. Maybe you're frustrated by that. The fact that your old tactics to make money don't work. The old tactics to get out of corners don't work. The landscape has changed a lot. And you've changed a lot. And girl world has changed a bit. Let me take you back for a minute. Before the vid affected the world, before the pandemic, yeah, people watched you and Amber. But then the vid happened. And the whole world went through a struggle together. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their homes. A lot of people were evicted. They had their hours cut. People had trouble putting food on the table for their families, for themselves. The whole world struggled. A lot of people stopped and paused about what they were doing and how they were doing it and just trying to figure out how to make it. And because of the vid, I feel when people watch you and Amberlynn Reed now, it hits different. To see two women, they don't have to get a regular job. They don't have to worry about a regular paycheck. All you guys have to do is put videos on YouTube and you make money. I'm like, easy, easy work. And you have access to everything you need. Whatever you need is at your disposal. And to sit there and purposely make yourself sick, it hits different. After the vid, it hits different. A lot of us are just trying to stay alive and stay healthy, and yet you two idiots over there purposely making yourselves ill and not appreciating what you have and the money you make and the golden cup of fortune you were given. It hits different. Can you understand the disgust that people feel when the two of you are on YouTube? And you should feel blessed because you don't have to work as hard as other people do. And other people have to work 10 times as hard and they're still struggling. And to see these, you and Amberlynn Reed, you both, you don't appreciate what you got or what you get. And you use what you get to hurt yourself. So yeah, if people are turning away from you, maybe that's part of the reason why. Because we don't want to watch the two of you make yourselves ill and make excuses when you got all of the resources and money in the world to fix it. It makes no sense. Ron says, OMG, never stick your chopsticks into food like that. A huge no-no in Asian cultures. It's a practice related to funerals. Absolutely true. If you do that, it's viewed as a sign of disrespect and rudeness. She talked about going to Japan, y'all. Can you imagine Shantal in Japan? Japan is all about manners. There is culture over there, and people are all about being polite and manners. Can you imagine this rude, crude, feral creature going to Japan? She would get in trouble. She would get yelled at so much, and she would deserve it. But yeah, Shantal, don't stick the chopsticks in the food like that. Don't. Mo Translate says, I need to shovel it in faster. Let's watch the clip.
I need a fork. I need to shovel it in faster.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm sorry about the pause, y'all. Sorry about the pause. I know it's not nice. But I've always said, I've said in my reacts before, a lot of people have asked the question, why does she eat so doggone fast? There's nobody else in the room. No one's going to take it from her. Here's my theory once again. Those of us that don't have food issues, when we start eating, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for the chemical signal between the stomach and the brain to happen where you feel full. So the moment you start eating, the clock starts running down. What Chantal's doing when she shovels in that food, and notice that she eats mainly soft foods or foods coated in sauces or liquids, yogurt. She's basically putting herself on the clock. It's almost like she's doing competitive eating, yet there's nobody competing with her. But what she's competing with is her own body. She's being defiant to her own body. She's trying to shovel in as much as she can before she feels full because she doesn't want to stop eating. So if she's using the chopsticks, she can't get as much in. Meanwhile, the clock is running down. So she's trying to beat her inner clock before that full feeling happens, and she has to stop. That's just my theory. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's why she, in my opinion, she races to get that food down. If there is a feedie out there that is paid for this meal, that wants to see this meal, feedies, they want to see you eat all of the food or most of the food. So she's put herself on the clock and shoveling it in so she can get as much down to make whoever paid for this meal happy. So the next time they want to see something, they'll pay her again. And again, I'm sorry about showing her this way. Hate it. Hate her being a sloppy, gluttonous person. And thank you, Mo Translates, for posting the clip. All right, how about a little palate cleanser, something positive? Internet Hall of Fame. This is what climate activists need to be doing rather than throwing tomato soup at paintings. So what is this? Well, let me just give you a breakdown. So they had these activists that they cleaned a river. Now watch again. Okay, so let's stop. Bally's beaches over the past couple of years. So there's a lot of trash that accumulates on beaches and it piles up and it's, not nice. So this is 2021. This is what the beaches look like. And 2022. So a bunch of activists decided, you know what, we're going to do something about this. They gathered up all the trash. They cleaned up the rivers and got all of the basically the pollution out of it. So they had bags and bags of trash. So then the question became of what do we do with this now that we have it all gathered up? So they decided to do something smart. They decided to take the trash, sort it, and make products with the trash. They washed everything, plastic into sheets, and it decided to make things like chairs. So they basically took the trash and repurposed it. Look, and those chairs that you see are made from the plastic that they pulled out of the river. So it's like taking something that was once waste and turning it into something useful. So it's not waste anymore. I think that's a great idea. So big ups to them for being creative. The Dalbo dog, proud mother. There's mom saying, look at my baby. He's so clean. Yog. Capybara thinks he's one of them. The guinea pigs are like, Dad? They're like, that's a much bigger version of us. That's awesome. Capybaras are so cool. They're the most chill animals. They get along with everything. They just don't care. And look, from the best, the dog is reunited with her cat friend. She saw the cat kittens for the first time. So there's mom. Obviously, mom is okay with the dog. The dog's like, let me just sniff the little ones. I want to sniff them. I want to lick them. Now, this is funny. Y'all look at this from BNS. A hunting dog instinctively raises its paw to point in the direction of the prey in the shop. So that dog is a pointer setter. And even though the dog is not out in the field, it's walking to the store and is instinctively pointed at prey. So even if the dog is not on the clock, it's still on the clock. I think that's precious. The dog's like, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. Look. Oh, and for those who want to know what the Simpsons donut looks like, there you go. Curtis said meow meow, saying this is the donut she's been begging for in a cake box. And that's literally the size of the donut itself. That's why she likes the Simpsons donut. It's just that big. And that way she can say, I only had one donut. Yeah, but it's the size of a freaking cake. All right. So we had enough of Twitter. Let's go on to the video. And we're not going to stay that long because I'm not that invested, Shantal. I'm just going to rag the crap out of you. Okay? I'm just going to keep it real, keep it honest. You don't deserve my mercy today. Look at this. Look at this. How are we starting out the video? Look what's on screen. The real talk starts at 15 minutes. So this is your video, Shantal. This is a video that you put together to make money, right? But you're saying to people, oh, I don't really talk for at least 15 minutes of the video, but I'm sure that she put ads for the first 15 minutes. So tell me you're broke without telling me you're broke. Like, you're going to make these videos as long as possible. You're going to clickbait people. You're going to stretch them out as long as you can, as much as you can to make that little bit of extra money. But you know what's stupid? You guys know what's really stupid? She's pulling out all the stops and all the tricks to make money. The clickbaiting, making people worry, making her beezers worry, going to the ER. Oh, I made myself sick and my blood sugar and blah, blah, blah. Making a big deal about her health, even though she made herself ill. She's doing everything. But to what end? Like, you're doing all this stuff for what purpose, Shantal? What is the point? Just to make more money, to get more food? I mean, is that the point? To feed the addiction? To make the feeders happy? Like, to what end is all of this trickery? All of this shadiness? Like, what is the point? What is the finish line? You're in Kuwait and you're more boring than you've ever been. I think we can all agree upon that. You're there. You're not talking about anything. You're not doing anything. You're so lacking in activities and anything interesting. You're constantly talking about your freaking childhood, which nobody gives an F about because that's boring too. Like, you're in the Middle East. You're bragging to us about how great it is over there, and yet you don't show us anything and you don't do anything yourself. And you make every excuse in the world why you can't do something. There's plenty of stuff that you could do inside. You can think of ideas and brainstorm, and you don't. So not only are you boring, you're making yourself unhealthy for what purpose and what person? But go ahead and say what you got to say.
Hello, guys. Hello, welcome back to dinner time with Fraudy. I don't know. I just make things up as I go. So today, I am trying something new.
By the way, Shantal, before you get deep into your, gobbling everything down session, you probably have heard this on the other reaction channels, and I've said it too. But I'm going to say it again just because it makes you mad. And it's probably true as well. Did it ever occur to you that the people that you've surrounded yourself with, they are very happy to exploit. They're as happy to exploit your food issue as you are. Since you are basically submissive to food, they're happy to keep you in that state of mind because it benefits them. Did that ever occur to you that they might be using your addiction against you? Yeah. Like Salah. Let's talk about Salah for a minute. Let's talk about your husband. Shantal, he hates you. He absolutely hates you. He resents you. He loves the money, but he hates you. You disgust him. You embarrass him. That's why he never goes out in public with you unless he has to. There's no love between you. There never has been. It's always been a business arrangement, a business transaction. You may be operating under the thought of, if I just stick around long enough and if I pay him enough money, I can wear him down and he'll just give in and be in a relationship with me. But Big Mama, if you have to wear somebody out and wear somebody down to be in a relationship, that is not true love. That is you essentially forcing yourself into another person's life that don't want you and don't care about you. And that is just predatory, it's icky, it's weird, and it's nasty. He wants you gone. One way or the other, he wants you gone. And you just won't leave. And you want to know why you won't leave? Because you have put yourself in a place where there's literally nothing for you to go back to. You don't have the villa. You can't run to Pete's. He can't help you because you left him in $5,000 plus debt with the villa damages that you caused. He's probably still paying that off. It's been 2 years. He's still living in that little room in the couple's house, which tells me he's not making enough money to get his own place. You can't run to Pete's to fix this. And your family's not going to take care of you. You're on your own. You got to figure it out. But Salah, because you are such a spoiled, rotten brat addict, he gives in to your demands for food. He wants you to go home. You've worn him out. You've worn him completely out with your little habits. He wants you to get on that plane and go home. But you don't want to go because where would you go? Where would you go? A motel room? Perhaps. I think that's the only option you got, but you don't have enough money or good credit to get your own place. But you're sticking to him like glue because we both know if you let go of Salah, there will not be another. Big Mama, you ain't making the money that you used to. You can't pull the same game that you used to, especially with all your issues. No man is going to put up with you. You can't throw down a bunch of money and then they say, well, yeah, she's got issues, but she's paying me well. You can't pay anybody well. So he's the last one in line. And you're hanging on to him for dear life because he's the last one. And without him, you will be completely alone. Wherever you go, whoever you're around, you're a burden. You're a burden on anybody who comes in contact with you. You're a burden on whatever healthcare system, whatever country you're in. You're a burden, period. And you're not fixing it. You're not fixing your problems. You expect that people will just take care of you. My question is, why? Why do you have this point of view? Why do you think people should just take care of you? What exactly in life are you entitled to? That whatever's going on with you, that people should just take care of you. What have you done being worthy of being taken care of? When you've never given anything in life, you've always taken. You are a taker. What are you entitled to? Why should life give you anything if you've never given back, not even once? You're not entitled to anything, Shantal. Life is not fair. Ask anybody who's gone through some hardship. Life isn't fair. You could be a good person and go through hardship. I've gone through mine. You aren't entitled to a damn thing. Not one. If you want something good for yourself, you have to work for it. And I mean work hard, especially in your case. You're so far down the hole, you can't see sunlight. And that's your fault. Didn't have to go that way, but it is. But you're not entitled to nothing. And thinking that the whole world, that Canada, that your Beezers, your family, they're going to take care of you. Try it and see. You're going to find out pretty fast. Don't nobody want to sign up for that job. You're 40 years old. You should figure it out and take care of your doggone self. You're not a child. As much as you want to be one, as much as you get on YouTube and do that age play crap, you are not a child. You're a big burden. You're a big headache. You're a walking migraine that nobody wants to deal with. There's not enough aspirin in the world to deal with a migraine like you. And that's why everybody's hands off with you, because you're just too much. You're too much. And right now, right here, right now with this mukbang, you're not helping yourself. You're not giving your body a chance. You're not giving your body a break. So since you're not giving to yourself, why should anybody give to you? Why should anybody take care of you when you're bedbound and you're bed rotting? When you're busy romanticizing that stuff? You want that life? Take care of yourself in that life then.
For my mukbang, you don't get anything. Here she comes. And it is, well, there we go. Mishmash, what is it? Chicken and, okay, so this is a chicken and rice dish that just sounded amazing.
And you know what? Again, I don't care about the food. The food no longer shocks me. You know, like this is Shantal's normal, y'all. Huge amounts of rice, hubcap of rice with a little bit of protein, lots of sugar, lots of desserts. This is her normal. Our abnormal is her normal. But guess what, Shantal? Like, if you're doing this to get back at Girl World, if you're doing this to flip us the bird and spark some kind of outrage and have us throw our hands up in the air, we no longer care. It's not our health. It's not our life. It's yours. But we no longer give a crap. If you want to ruin yourself, if you're basically playing Russian roulette with a fork instead of a gun, can we stop you? Do we have the power to stop you? No. You have the power to stop yourself, though. But you're not stopping yourself, so what can we do? Not a doggone thing. If you don't care about your health, why should we care? What is our care doing except being wasted? I'd rather give my care to something that matters, where it's going to come back from a positive place, like the feral cat Blackie outside. Little positive moment for y'all. Like, let's just pause for a minute. I'm going to tell you guys something positive. So I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning this morning. I was just up late. You know how it is. I'm a night owl. And I went outside and I fed Blackie some food, and she ate the dry crunchies. And then directly after eating the dry crunchies, she hopped over to a patch of grass, and I heard her catch a mouse. Then she hopped back over to me and showed the mouse to me, like, look what I did. And then she went beneath my place to eat it. So little Blackie is an avid hunter. So between what I give her for food and what she catches on her own, she's a big, thick chunk. But I just thought that was a cool moment. Like, she was showing me that she is a hunter and she's paying rent around here. Even though I didn't ask her to and it's not required. Anyway, positive moment over. Let's go back to the beast.
To me, it has yellow rice, crispy fried onion, creamy mushroom sauce, mushrooms and chicken, and scallion.
And there's not a doggone thing in that container that you couldn't have made on your own in your kitchen. It looks pretty basic Becky. That looks like a basic Becky dish. Not that complicated. Some rice with some stuff added to it. So again, why are you going to pay for takeout? And everybody's got this feeling that Salah is getting the cheapest street food and bringing it to Shantal, overcharging her and pocketing the money. If he's doing it, I think that's smart. I don't know if he's been stockpiling the money for doing that, but it wouldn't surprise me because that's what Natter did to her when she bought the party favors from him. But he just continuously brings her some of the worst looking food. Not that it matters. She doesn't have a sophisticated palate. You know, she's going to eat garbage regardless. Just a matter, is it garbage expensive or is it cheap?
Okay, so yes. Then we have some fries.
Of course you do, because you need your carbs. Not that there's not enough carbs with the rice. Let's add some more on top of that. I'm just shaking my head. I'm just shaking my head.
And then we have some jalapeno poppers with ranch.
And again, you could have gotten those in the frozen section of the grocery store for like $3 for a package. But no, you're going to order it and spend like $10, dummy.
And I have a spicy ranch.
Oh, yeah, we can't do without the sauce because it'll help us swallow it faster.
For the fries or for the rice? I don't know.
It's probably going to go on the rice because then there's protein there, which means she's got to actually chew. So she's going to put the sauce on the rice so she can swallow it faster and get those big gulps down.
I don't care. Some diet soda.
And I'm not being mean saying that. I'm just, hey, she's a food addict. And her goal is to get as much down her throat as possible, as quickly as possible. By the way, Shantal, can we talk about something a little bit separate yet related to you? You're over there struggling for views and money, correct? Now let's go back in time for the minute. Let's rewind the clock. I remember, because I was around at a time when Girl World, we went back and forth covering you and Amberlynn Reed. And then you took the crown from Amber and you ran with it during the Natter arc. Like everything was just so crazy and upside down and unpredictable. Amber lost the crown to you. You snatched it off her head and said, I'm running with this thing and you're not getting it back. And you kept it on your head for the longest. But guess what? It kind of looks like things are starting to pick up with Miss Amberlynn Reed. Like she's got somebody new in her life. There's some interest there. I might take a look at it. But you're not working to keep your crown. You're not working at all. You're lazy and thinking there's no competition. I don't have to worry. I don't have to step up my game. Oh, but you do. Because even if Amber doesn't get the crown back and the interest with her is just for a moment, there's going to be somebody that comes along, Shantal, and you're not making it very hard for someone else to take the crown. Like you're not doing anything. All you're doing is using YouTube to feed your addictions and using it as a portal to find more feedy people. So if anybody wants to come along and get the crown from you, it won't be that hard. And I'm sure you've noticed that when the girl world gets behind a channel, when we start covering somebody, their channel blows up, their views blow up, they quickly get monetized. You've seen the power of girl world when we get behind someone and we start covering somebody. And if that happens, no more coverage for you, because why are we here? Are we here to watch you eat? We don't want to watch you eat. This is gross.
Some pickles. So bismillah, let's have a pickle. And have din din. All right. Beauty bite.
Diabetes bite.
Oh, like seasoned fries. Dipped in spicy ranch.
Okay, didn't she say like the talk starts at like 15 minutes? Let's go there, because I'm not here for, like, y'all can see I'm doing like the preview window. Look, are you done eating yet, Shantal? Hurry up. Hurry up. I don't want to see this crap. I don't want to see it. Hurry up, stuff your face. I'm so mean. I'm not being mean. I'm just, look, I don't want to watch her eat, okay? That's all it is. And I know you guys don't want to see her stuff her face. She's not the nicest eater. She really isn't. Are we done yet? Okay, are you done eating? Are you almost done eating? Okay, we'll start from here.
But since reverting to Islam, I feel like my life has.
Oh my God. Are we really going there? Are we going there?
There's like a light in it. There's like, it's not hopeless. There's a purpose.
I don't want to hear this stuff. Absolutely no disrespect to Kuwait. No disrespect to anyone who is of the Muslim faith or the Muslim people. Nothing but disrespect for her, though. Because when she went to Kuwait, she was claiming that being in Kuwait, being around Salah, it was turning over a new leaf. Oh, my life is going to be different. I'm going to be out of Canada and away from some of my vices, yada, yada, yada. I'm closer to Allah. Yet she's worse now than she ever was. And that is not the fault of Kuwait or the Muslim people or the Muslim faith. It has to do with the fact that she is a person with many issues, all of which are unchecked. She's never gone to therapy or counseling or inpatient for any of them. All of her bad habits that she acquired in Canada, she took them over with her into Kuwait. And she never dealt with them. She buried them in all the food. And that's why she is the way that she is today. She's too busy monetizing her problems to deal with them. She doesn't want to deal with them. Because if you took away, let's be honest, if you took away her size, which is growing by the day, it's shocking to see the amount of weight she's putting on and how rapidly. If you took away the issues and the food, what else would there be to talk about with Shantal? She doesn't have any outside interests, any outside hobbies. There's no aspects to her personality, her life that would be interesting. All she's got is the drama and the health issues, and that's it. You take those away, there'd be nothing to talk about. That's why she won't get rid of them. And by the way, Shantal, if you're someone and you have a habit and you're not going into rehab, you're not going to therapy, you're not getting counseling, you have no coping skills or coping mechanisms, what's going on with you right now is you're not recovered from anything. Excuse me. You're not recovered from anything. You're just dry. Do you know what I mean? You're dry, which means you're not doing certain things just because you don't have access to them. Like the edibles. It's not that you recovered from doing too many edibles. It's just that you are dry because you can't buy them where you are. But the moment you go home to Canada, you stop by the green shop and you're loading up. You're not recovered from any one of your problems.
In Islam, we say, like, this dunya, this life is temporary. It's all temptation. It's all an illusion. It's a test.
Well, then you failed. You absolutely failed. And it's a doggone shame because you were given a cup of fortune and you turned it into a cup of poison. You did, Shantal. It's a shame. Ugh. To think of all the people that are out there that they struggle so hard, they work so hard, they are good people, they have good hearts, and they're just having a hard time finding their way. And I think that life gave you a cup of fortune that could have been given to somebody else, and they could have taken that cup and run with it and accomplished so many great things much faster. And it was given to you, and you just straight up wasted it. You wasted it, and you destroyed yourself with it. Horrible. Horrible.
So no matter what I go through, I don't so.
No. Stop. No matter what I go through, how about we just call things by their right names and use the right words? How about what you put yourself through by choice? Because that's what's going on here. You don't have any serious responsibilities. You don't have a family. You don't have kids. You have nothing to do with your time. And the pain that you're in, you literally put yourself through by choice. Everything I go through, you're not going through nothing. Shut up. Seriously, shut up, trying to act like a victim. Oh, I'm going through so much. Nah, there are people out there that have really gone through things. You put yourself through things just so you have content and something to talk about. The pain that you're in is by choice. And by choice, you could choose to end that pain by taking care of yourself, and you do not. So you're wrapping that pain around you like a blanket and using it to play victim. And I'm not buying what you're selling. I don't care how much money I have in my pocket. I wouldn't spend it on you. And Shantal, I am all out of fucks. And even if I weren't, though, you wouldn't get any. So save it.
Fully own the hardships in my life, like things that I can control and that I'm responsible for. Yes.
You know what, Shantal? The hardships in my life. What? What are you talking about? What hardships? You've been on YouTube for 8 years. When's the last time you had a real job? It's been forever, hasn't it? And even the jobs you did have, you got fired because you were lazy, taking long lunch breaks, not showing up at all. That's why the hospital lets you go. They basically gave you a little shut up package and told you to leave. What hardships? What about the hardships you put other people through? You claim to be the victim, and yet you make other people into victims. Predator. You make their life a living hell. You're not a victim. You're not. You put yourself through things.
Everything else, I share that burden with Allah, with God. And it just makes me feel like, when you have faith, you just don't feel alone. You don't feel hopeless. You don't feel that, like, that feeling of like there's just nothing else.
I love the fact that she has faith when it suits her. She has faith when she wants to turn that into content and a topic of conversation, but it's not in her heart. Now, Shantal became a newly reverted Muslim woman, and she started to outwardly change her mannerisms, her words, I would say, yes, that's a good thing for her. But it's been 2 years. She's not a new revert anymore. She cannot say, oh, I just don't know what I'm doing. It's been 2 years. How exactly has being there changed you in a positive way? Shantal, I don't care what you wear. Underneath whatever clothing you choose, you're still the same savage person you ever were. The same feral creature that belongs in a barn. Even barnyard animals have more manners and cleanliness than you. You just act like you weren't raised among humans. Like you were raised out in the wild by hyenas. 2 years. Nothing has changed.
And I'm not here to preach religion.
Good, because you shouldn't.
That's not something you can ever force on someone. Like,
No?
you have to come, this is a journey where you have to find your own faith. And if you don't believe in it, that's...
You know what I find interesting? The irony of this mukbang. So she's over here talking about faith and taking it into your heart, blah, blah, blah. At the same time, she's supposed to be a newly reverted Muslim woman, and yet she just committed gluttony, which is haram. So you're going to sit there as a newly reverted Muslim woman, and you're going to do these mukbangs, and you're basically committing gluttony, which is a big no-no. So that's an interesting mix.
That's fine. That's up to you. I'm just sharing what my personal thoughts and experiences are, and how I cope with hard times, or, you know, like But God has a plan for everyone. And I'm grateful for where I am, the opportunities I had, the opportunities I have.
Oh, that might have been a little slip. The opportunities I had versus have. I think her brain was kind of speaking to her there for a second. I think that might have been a bit of a bit of a thought slip, because she did at one time have many opportunities. Life could have been a whole lot different for her, but she kept making bad choices based on her wants, uh, her cravings, the addictions, all of it. She let those things decide what she did and who she was around and what she consumed. You had opportunities, Shantal, a lot more than you do now, but you kept making the bad choices and hanging around bad people who were just as rotten as you are, because you wanted to be in like-minded company. You wanted to be around people that would not say no to you or your addictions, that would not step in and stop you. They would just quietly be submissive or created all of that. But you had opportunities, you had choices. But the longer this goes on, the less choices you have, and that's by your own hand. And I don't want to hear any crap from you about, oh, girl world is the problem. Oh, we are the big bad meanie head. We're the reason why you don't get views anymore. We're the reason why your money sucks. No, I won't accept that answer, because I remember back in your heyday, Shantal. I remember back in your freaking heyday when you were making money and the reaction channels were covering you and Amber, and you were doing pretty okay. You weren't resentful of the reaction channels then. You only started being resentful when your money started to drop, but you did not acknowledge your part to play in that. Like, hey, my content is getting boring, and people are getting bored and they just can't watch me because it's the same monotonous stuff all the time. You will not point the finger back at yourself and say, I am the reason why people aren't watching me anymore. My content sucks. My attitude sucks. I don't appreciate people. I have been rude to people. I have been wrong to people. And that is why the things that are happening now are happening. No, you'll point the finger at girl world. We ain't got nothing to do with it. We don't stop people from going to your channel. We don't say, hey, don't go watch Shantal. People decide that on their own. They have freedom of choice and they choose to go to the reactors instead of you. So don't blame us. We're not to blame. You caused all this stuff to happen. If your money sucks to the point where you have to do like 10 mukbangs a day, you should have put some money back when you had the chance, instead of spending it on crackheads and party favors and outhouse visits and trips to Montreal with said crackhead, trying to romance men that want nothing to do with you.
And inshallah, the opportunities I will have, So yeah, I just try to just be positive and not get involved in drama and gossip and talk about other people.
Oh, please stop that. Stop it. Slow your roll and take it back to the bakery. Chantal, you were in the locale. It was that one show, but it was like a live feed going on with Boogie and Wings of Redemption. I forget the name of the show, but you were all in that chat wanting to involve yourself. You were there. I don't want to involve myself in drama. Then why were you in that drama, which had nothing to do with you? You were there to be seen. You wanted them to see you, to see if they recognized you, and you nearly creamed your dirty panties when Wings of Redemption said, "Oh, is that Foodie Beauty?" Normally when you go into chats in girl world, you're under a sock. But you went in there as Foodie Beauty because you want to be involved in all of it. Because I'm sure you've looked around on YouTube and a lot of people are covering the Boogie situation, the way that he lied about having cancer and all the other rotten things going on with him. So there's a big buzz about that. A lot of reactors are covering it. And you're like, why is nobody talking about me? Because there's nothing to talk about. So whenever you hear there's a buzz about someone or something, you go investigating to see what's going on. You try to involve yourself somehow. So that's why you were there. And you were there under your original name versus a sock account. But you don't involve yourself in drama, liar.
Just focus on my life. You know, it's I saw something. It was like successful people, and success doesn't mean wealth and having a yacht and everything like that. That's success can be many forms, and just having a successful life could just be becoming a better person than you were. You know, or having like I'm happy with the home we have, for example. You know, I don't need a huge to be a homeowner to feel successful.
You know what, Shantal? You don't work out, but I'm going to make you sweat. And I'm going to make you mad all at the same time. This whole thing between you and Salah, it's always been a business transaction, a business deal, a contract, verbal or otherwise, of some sort. It's always been about the money. And you got to know, the more troublesome you are, the more burdensome you are, the more he's going to ask in payment because he just can't stand you. But it's always been about the freaking money. And you've always known that. It's never been a strictly emotional thing. Yet you're not over there busting your butt, trying to make as much money as you can to keep Salah around. The lower your paychecks get, the more he's going to be in the mindset of the juice ain't worth the squeeze and I'm leaving. And if he's gone, there's nobody else to take his place. So you've always known from the jump what it's about, how it's going to be, that his heart has never been on the table. You got that ridiculous voice in your head saying, just stick around long enough and he'll fall in love with you. No, he ain't attracted to you. He doesn't want you. If he wanted you, he could have had you 100 times by now. Because you are certainly more than willing. But if he's not calling upon you and he's texting other women, he's not into you, girl. And he never will be. You are not his type. Stop trying to force the issue. It's gross. It's gross to force yourself on someone that does not want you. And you have the frame of mind of, I can just wear them down and they'll give in. That is so predatory. But this whole thing with you and Salah is about money. And you're running out of money. And you're making yourself sick. And you keep having to go to the doctor and the ER and upping your medication, which means more money spent on that stuff, which means less money for him, which means more frustration and more anger. Do you see how that whole pyramid is upside down and there's not much holding it up and it's going to come crashing down? Yeah. Yeah. So you're stupid. That you enter into these business deals with men. It's all about the money, and yet you're not doing your part to maintain the money to keep them around for more than 5 minutes. You just you get your feelings all mixed up, stupid, when they don't feel a doggone thing for you.
Like, no, everyone's idea of a success is different, but like successful people, like people who I want to grow into a better person. That's my major.
Well, you're growing into something, but not a better person. If you want to grow into a better person, that means you would acknowledge that you are out of control. Your addictions are way out of control. That the only way to get them under control is to go somewhere in a facility that is much like jail, where everything is on lock It's on lockdown. You can't do what you want. You can't order food. You can't sneak food in. Nobody can sneak in food for you. You're out of control, Shantal. You need someone to take the wheel for quite a while. But you're never going to do that. You had a whole lot of issues to work on in every way. But you never will because you don't want to do the work.
I want to feel good from the inside because no matter what,
I want to feel good from the inside, yet she just did a mukbang with all that rice. Tell me, Shantal, how does all that rice and all of that processed food, how's it going to make you feel good on the inside? I really want to hear the answer to that one.
situation you are on the outside in life, everything material, every place, everything is temporary. But your being, what's inside of you, that's permanent. That's you want to grow as a person. That's what my
Hey, Miss, I want to grow as a person. I want to be a good person. Why don't you prove it? Why don't you put action behind the words? You want to prove that you're growing, that you're a good person. How about taking care of your cat? You know, the one that's in the house, that her fur's all matted and she's still not fixed and her toenails need clipped. Why not take care of that little being that's in the house that requires a guardian because you put her in a place where she can't take care of herself? You put her in your space and said, I'm your guardian now. You're growing as a person. I want to be a good person. Start there. Start there. Take her to the vet to get her fixed so she doesn't go into heat anymore. Get her nails clipped. Take care of those mats. Why not start there, Shantal? Shantal, I have 2 cats. One inside, one outside. The cat distribution system found me twice. Booger was the first one. She loves me to death. I love my girl. It's a baby. She's behind me. And then Blackie, the outside feral, she's well fed. She's a big chunky girl. She's filled out since I've been here. Look at me. I make far less than you. So what's your excuse that you can't do things for your cat? You want to prove that you're a good person? Start there.
goal is, and there's so many setbacks and I have such a journey to go on, but I'm ready.
And how are you going to do it there? I'm going to ask the hard questions. How are you going to go on a journey where you are? If you're in a place where you can't go outside because it's too hot, you can't do what you need to do and move around. You're not being yourself. You are being a character you created for yourself. And it's total opposite to what you really are. You're confining yourself. You're bottling all that stuff up. You're always happier when you go home to Canada because that's who you really are, Shantal. Good, bad, ugly, in between, that is you. But you won't go home to Canada because you insist on owning Salah. He's not an object. If you left, he'd be fine. He's got family. He's got friends. He could sleep on somebody's couch. He would be fine, but you wouldn't because you'd be preoccupied in your freaking head with what is he doing? Who is he talking to? Don't worry about that. He's a playboy and you know it. You are not the one he wants. You're just the one he's living off of. You're paying for all the parties. You're paying for the red room. That's your job, lol. He's taking your milk and making cheese with it. But you are not his main squeeze. You are not in his heart. You're just in his wallet. Understand? You're just a paycheck. And you always will be. But he's not into you. And it's just how things are. And maybe you're okay with that because you're not willing to work on yourself and you'll scrape the bottom of the barrel with whatever you can find there. But he's not emotionally attached. He's indifferent to you. See, there is something worse than love and hate, Shantal. It's indifference. Hate is very emotional, Love is very emotional, but even worse is indifference. When somebody is indifferent to you, they feel nothing. They don't care what you do. They don't care where you go. They don't care who you talk to. They don't care. He's indifferent to you. Do you not feel that? He's so unplugged from you. He's indifferent. Just to deal with you, he has to be indifferent, or he'll lose his ever-loving mind.
Hey man, I got new Skechers coming. I'm ready to walk that journey.
Oh, please. Can somebody please explain to me how she wore out the first pair of Skechers when she didn't even walk that much? I mean, I do far more walking and exercise in my shoes, and they don't wear out nearly as fast as her freaking Skechers. She barely walks. How is she wearing out her freaking shoes?
So every time I get mad, every time I rage, every time I act, you know, poorly, it's just like a setback for me, and I don't feel good about myself. So I like to just try to focus on myself, and I know I have a long way, but
Yeah, okay. You know what? I get it. I've been here before. There's this somber, I know I need to do better. I'm going to focus on doing better, Shantal. And then the next day or the day after that, there's the I'll do what I want attitude. She flip-flops back and forth. You're so predictable, Shantal. You're so incredibly predictable. You think that you're unpredictable, but you're not. You're very predictable. It's been 8 years. All of us in girl world, we know you better than you know yourself. Trust and believe that. We're very familiar with all your patterns, all your tell, everything, because the camera will tell on you. We can see the lies on your face. We can see them in your eyes, the shifty eyes, the talking out of both sides of your mouth. We know it all.
I think I've come a long way also since,
No, you haven't.
a couple of years ago where
No. You haven't come a long way. You've actually regressed backwards. You've regressed backwards in a really weird, strange way. I can't really explain it because I'm not a psychiatrist. Only a psychiatrist or a doctor or something would be able to get to the heart of what's going on with Foodie. But she has regressed so freaking bad, y'all. She went from acting like an adult woman to acting like a child. It's almost like she's trying to redo her childhood with Salah. She said she had daddy issues and abandonment issues, and it's just weird how she's trying to use a stranger, a man that she has a financial contract agreement with. She's trying to use him as a surrogate father almost to take care of her and be her guardian. I know he'll do all the responsibilities. And I don't know if that plays into the age play thing that she's doing, the adult baby thing, or it's like she longs for someone to take care of her. At the same time, she's not a caring person, but she's trying to set somebody up to be in a position where they cannot escape her. And they're forever burdened with taking care of her and all of her needs. And again, that's wrong. Wrong. Nobody wants to take care of her. She's entirely too much. Entirely too much. But you regress, Shantal. And it's just weird to watch. The baby talk, the baby voice. I know part of that is you manipulating Salah because you're older than he is and he's younger, and you're trying to appear younger and more innocent so he doesn't yell at you when you do some stupid crap. I realize that. But it's like you're trying to be a child over there, and you're not. You're 40. You can't go back to childhood. No matter what you do, no matter how much role play you do, you're still going to be an adult with all the adult problems. And no matter how much you try to run away from your problems and escape from them, there they are in front of you. The best thing you can do is just take care of those problems and they won't be a problem anymore. But you are trying to live in Delulu land and maybe use age play to do it. And I'm not fetish shaming here. Anybody that does the adult baby thing, that's for you. And if it makes you happy and you hurt no one, please continue. But with her, it's like she's openly in public in front of the camera, just regressing backwards with the way she behaves and the things she says and her mannerisms. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Where I was, you know. Um, so, and I don't need validation from others. I don't need other people to say,
Then go home. I don't need validation from others. Okay, then go home. Because what's Salah bringing to the table? Not a doggone thing. He is not useful at all. What is he doing that Pete could not do for you? And Pete actually cares for you. Why are you spending all the money to be over there? Why are you giving him like a monthly fee of whatever that is? Go home to Pete's. He actually gave a crap. You two used to be together. He actually cares, Shantal. And you could be yourself with Pete's. You don't have to be something completely opposite to be halfway accepted by Salah, who is not really accepting you. He's just accepting your money. He's disgusted by you, but not by the money. He'll always accept the money.
yay, you know, you have. And no, this is my journey, and I know in my heart, and God knows. And that's all that matters. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy where I am.
No, you're not. If you listen to a person and they say to you, I'm so happy, they're always saying that, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. People who are really happy, they don't have to say that they're happy. You can just feel that happy energy radiating like sunshine off of them. They don't have to tell you that they're happy. They don't have to keep driving the point home. It's people that are massively unhappy. Like with Shantal, I think it's one of those things of fake it till you make it kind of things. Like if she tells herself enough, I'm happy, like she mentally maybe or emotionally convinces herself that she's happy when she's not, kind of trying to play tricks on herself. I don't know. But saying that you're happy and actually being happy are two different things.
I don't think that we can be happy all the time. We have to go through all the human emotions in life, and they teach us something. I mean, the bad times, the bad things we go through, they are the biggest teachers. So
That's true.
they're valuable, they're important. And I feel like as long as I have faith, that God helps me also. So, yeah.
You know, would you guys mind if I told a little story right now? And it does have some spiritual, religious overtones, but it's not meant to put down anybody's spiritual beliefs over anybody else's. It's just a story I heard, but there's a reason why I'm going to tell this story, and I'm passing it along to all of you. There's a lesson in it. So the story goes like this, and I heard this somewhere like years ago. So there was a man who lived in a village, and he turned on the TV to see the news. And the newscaster got on the TV, and the newscaster mentioned the particular village that the man lived in and said, like, this is a warning for anybody who lives in that area. There is going to be a major flood. It's going to rain for days and days and days, and anybody living in that area should evacuate when the rains start coming, because they will never stop. Like, the water is probably going to cover that particular area. The man saw the broadcast and he said, well, I don't have to worry because God will save me. Sure enough, the weather did indeed get severe and nasty. It started to rain and rain and rain, and the water started to build up in the streets. Then it came up to the bottom of the man's door. The man got a knock at the door. When that started happening, his neighbors came by and said, hey, so-and-so, like, the water's really starting to rise. You really should get out of here. we're taking all of our stuff and we're leaving because this whole place is going to be underwater in no time. But you should come with us. You should get out of here. And the man said, I got nothing to worry about. God will save me. So they left and he went back inside. Then the water started it kept rising and rising and rising. And soon the water was at ankle level. The man got another knock at the door from the sheriff. And the sheriff said, sir, like, you really need to evacuate. You've got to get out of here. Like in the next several hours, the water is going to be up to your waist, sir. You really, really should be going. And the man looked at him and said, thank you, but I'm going to stay right here because God will save me. So the sheriff left. Indeed, the water kept rising because the rain kept coming. And it was so severe that the water got up to the roof, and the man was on top of the roof. And soon there were men coming from a helicopter. And they called down to him, sir, the water is rising. We're going to send down a ladder for you. We're going to get you out of here. The man said, I'm fine. God will save me. So he did not take the ladder. Well, unfortunately, the man passed away. And he arrived in heaven. And he saw God. And he said, God, why didn't you save me? And God said, are you kidding me? I sent the newscaster. I sent the neighbors. I sent the sheriff. I sent a helicopter. What do you want me to do? So help can come in many different forms and in many different ways. You can't just look for one way of something. There's many different things. But like, she's had so many signs, so much help, so many signs that she needs to get off the path that she's on, and yet she will not, because she's convinced herself that she knows the way, that she can control this thing, that she knows everything. And you know what, Shantal, you don't know everything. You are an addict. You're in the throes of your addiction. It is severe. It is on top of you. It's controlling you. And you need outside help to fix this. But you'll never get it because you're too busy monetizing your pain and getting sympathy off of it. So do what you will, ma'am.
For people who don't believe in any God, this is going to sound so corny because I used to not believe in God. And every time someone would talk about God, I would roll my eyes.
And I'm on the personal belief, Chantal, on the spiritual level. Like, we as people, we all have spiritual guides, all of us, for protection. We have guardians, but you don't listen to yours when they try to warn you against something. You've shut that part of yourself down. You just don't want to hear what they have to tell you. You're not open to the spiritual, nothing.
But I'm grateful that, he's the reason I'm here right now. So, I mean, God's the reason I'm here right now. And every day before I go to bed, I put my CPAP mask on and I say,
you know what? I know she's got a severe problem with food, but if she were truly on a spiritual path, she wouldn't have done what she just did, because she's supposed to be a newly reverted Muslim woman. And what she just did was gluttony, which is haram. So if you have God in your heart, if you really have it in your heart and you want to do good, why did you do what you just did? Why are you still catering to the feedy people? That's why I don't believe you.
Alhamdulillah, Astaghfirullah, and Allahu Akbar a whole bunch of times. And I pray and I ask that may I wake up from the sleep that I'm about to do. Like, I want to wake up, So every time I wake up, I say Alhamdulillah. I'm so grateful that God allowed me to wake up today. And to fight another day. So that's basically my sleep routine before I go to bed, because
now part of your sleep routine is before you go to bed, you hit all those carbs and all that sugar. And Chantal, you could have a medical event in your sleep. So unless you want that to happen, maybe you want that to happen. Maybe you're just done with life. I don't know. But You load up with carbs and sugar before bed. You could have a medical event in your sleep and not open your eyes the next morning.
To me, it's important, you know. I'm not saying that I never miss a prayer. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm not a perfect Muslim, but um, I do believe in Islam and I believe in God. And
Shantal, let me just take you back a minute. Before you put on the hijab, before you put on the abaya, before you took your shahada, you said yourself that you wanted to wear the hijab because it covered up your head because of your lack of hair. And you were looked at Pete in the kitchen and you said, well, do I have to be Muslim to do that? And he said, probably. And you said, I guess I'm Muslim. That's how you made that decision. And then you did another video where you basically confessed that the reason why you like wearing the abayas is because it covered up your body. So it's a using clothing to hide your body thing rather than a faith thing.
you know, my faith is real.
No, it ain't.
I know that a lot of people have been questioning that. That's fine. I mean, I really just have to cement it in my brain what other people think.
Shantal, you've been in Kuwait for 2 years. You haven't changed a bit. You haven't. You're the same ragey, angry, gluttonous, full of unchecked addiction, Shantal, that was in Canada. It's in Kuwait now. You just changed locations, but you have not changed a bit. If you had changed for the positive, I would give credit for that, but I can't give credit for something that hasn't happened. You just changed how you dress. That is all. You changed where you live and you changed how you dress, and that's it.
Is really not my business. So you feel so much lighter. You feel so much lighter when you don't carry the opinions of others.
You know, if I didn't know any better, I would swear that she's doing this to she's doing this for the reaction channels. Is that it, Shantal? Is that the game? You're going to say things like that because you're thinking it's going to lead to reaction channels being up in arms and raging about what you're saying. And do you honestly think that's going to happen? That we're going to be in a rage and bust a blood vessel over you coming on camera and outright lying about yourself and saying you have God in your heart when you don't? Because we don't care enough to rage about you. There's no reason to rage. Your tactics aren't working. They suck. They really suck. This is such pathetic, lame trolling.
Shoulders. You don't want, you know what I mean? It's a freedom that when you no longer care, it's a freedom that allows you to continue to do YouTube, that allows you to go through life um, a lot happier, a lot freer. So,
you know what, Chantal? I did a tarot reading on you recently. Look, you got to go. You got to leave Kuwait. There's no getting around that. There's no finding a loophole. There's no, I can talk somebody into letting me stay for 6 more months. It's got to happen. And I know you're putting it off. And I know you're looking for a way to stay longer and longer and longer, but you just can't. Kuwait is not going to put up with having you there, and you are a burden on the country, which you certainly are. Wherever you go, like I said, you are a burden to whatever people or whatever country you're a part of. And since you are not a national citizen of Kuwait, they're going to deport you. It's going to be a situation where they force you out. They're going to take one look at you and hear your breathing and see the fact that you can't walk, and they're going to tell you to keep stepping over to a plane and get on the plane and get out. They're not going to put up with you. They don't have to. They don't want you draining their healthcare system and costing them thousands of dollars. And I'm sure Canada doesn't want it either, but unfortunately, that's where you were born. So they have to deal with it on a certain level. But the more you do this crap where you're eating your mukbangs and gaining weight, and getting more sick, the greater the chances of Kuwait finding out about you and saying, you need to go, ma'am. You're putting off what you know needs to happen and is going to happen. All because you don't want to eat crap from Girl World. You don't want to take the L. And you know if you come back, you're probably going to take it because you got nowhere else to go. You can't just jump into a nice house with nice furnishings. You're going to have to start from square one. Well, you put yourself in that position. You gave up all your stuff. You gave up your roommate. That was your choice. Now you do have to start over and put your own name on a lease versus letting some other man do it for you. When's the last time you've had your name on a lease and no one else was responsible? It's been years. I don't think your name has ever been on a lease. It's always been somebody else paying for everything. So, yeah, trying to hide out in Kuwait is not working any longer.
Anyway, that's my little pep talk for today. Speaking of pep talks, if you want any kind of personal video.
Oh, God, she's promoting her scameos. Whenever she does a mukbang now, just consider it advertisement for the feedy people. This is just like a sample of what she can do for them and their special request. YouTube is just a portal for her to get in front of the feeding people and say, hi, I'm Shantal. This is what I do. Here's a sample. If you want some really good stuff, some specific stuff, contact me on Instagram, contact me on Cameo. Let's talk. Let's work out a deal. And she gets paid for requests. That's all it is. This is just a portal for her to find the people that she's looking for.
Oh, you want me to talk to you about anything if you want to have...
Oh, nobody cares about your Cameo. Nobody. Stop it. All right, so hope you guys have enjoyed this react. It just feels good to get stuff off my chest with Shantal. And I'm going to go ahead and stop this here and post it to my channel. And I just saw a notification that Fraudy is live. I'm going to take a look at it and see if it's boring or not. It probably is, because what else is she doing? She can't go anywhere. She can't do anything. So I'm going to just post this and see what else is up. But in the meantime, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See y'all later. Bye-bye.